the merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Good morning, welcome to Sunday Edition with myself, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. The Liverpool crisis is over, but Arsenal march on relentlessly. No one's going to stop them this time, are they? At the other end of the scale, there's more FA Cup first round action today, and we've got a real-life Wembley hero joining us. Malden and Tiptree boss Kevin Horlock, whose side visit Port Vale. Long throws are the talk of football at the moment, and we have the man who once held the world long throw record, Andy Legg, who will glory in the return of the ancient art. And we'll be talking rugby union too, after Henry Pollock starred as England beat Australia at Twickenham. Mark Cueto, 2007 World Cup finalist, will be here to review the performance. You can get in touch with the show, text us on 81089, or WhatsApp us on 03717 223344. We're also live on YouTube and your smart TV. Just search talksport.com/watch for more details. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT. Morning. Now, because I did the tease before we went to the sports headlines, everybody's been waiting to find out how on earth you, top sports journalist who mainly covers football, could possibly get lost on the way to Twickenham?
Total incompetence. Londoner born and bred. Know the tube. Know the journeys around London. Slight homing pigeon element of I normally head to football grounds. So anyway, I got to Vauxhall, heading to Twickenham via Richmond. Get on the train, see all these rugby people. Fantastic. Must be heading in the right direction. Right trains. Everything happy. Talking to actually a Manchester United fan who was sort of sitting opposite. We're having a really good chat. And then we pull into Kew Bridge, and all the people in rugby shirts get out. So I sort of get up to get out, stand on the platform and look up, and there's the glorious G-Tech. I thought, this isn't Twickenham. Where are all these rugby fans going? They were going to the Barbarians against All Blacks game. So there was I, sort of stood like one of the sort of lonely railway children on the deserted platform as the train pulls out, and I have to wait for a Richmond train. So I went to the wrong game, wrong sport, wrong stadium. But fortunately, there was another rugby game going on in London. Obviously, I was heading to Twickenham to watch glorious England play against slightly disappointing Australia. But at Wembley, South Africa were running rings around Japan. So I could have ended up another same. Anyway, so total incompetence.
But most significantly, of course, it made you late for lunch.
Yeah, that was very worrying. Well, because I was obviously paying my own way, so that was an issue, and I had to ring friends in advance to order. Whereas, of course, you were in hospitality, so you were. Although lunch was delayed.
Lunch was delayed.
Outrageous.
Yeah, we didn't get
the
lunch
prawn
before
sandwiches
kick-off.
didn't arrive.
It was half-time lunch.
Is hospitality nice? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, problems in the kitchens apparently.
Right. Okay.
The beef was delayed till
you had that at home.
Late in the end of the half-time break, but it
was worth it to see Henry Pollock.
Very good day out.
Who's going to be given
TNT Sports?
Yeah,
my hospitality. Yes, and it was worth it to see Henry Pollock, who is a bit of a star, and we would appreciate. He's got that. Well,
football factor. He's going to get given the football treatment. You look at the beach blonde hair, you look at the sort of the charisma and all that.
And he's featuring on a lot of front pages or back pages, depending on what. And he's got that. I mean, he gave it some when he scored the try as well, didn't he? A brilliant pick-up. Yep. Stumbled, gets over the line, and he gives it the...
What was the reaction in hospitality?
Yes, we were very excited.
Did you rattle your jewellery, as John Lennon would say? Was it good?
Yes, we held up our pint glasses to salute him, of course, because, of course, you can't do that at football. One
thing about drinking in rugby is that actually, for those of us in the normal seats...
In the cheap seats, the 165 pound seats.
Yeah, I won't complain about Fulham in the future. But actually watching the game, I mean, it's like a Mexican wave going off in your row every or 5 minutes, people standing up to go off and get another drink. It is a little bit... Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the sport, because quite rightly, Henry Pollock is all over the front pages of the broadsheet. Sunday Telegraph, Henry cleans up against Wallabies. And just one thing about this picture, and I know we've got Mark Cueto coming on later, it'll be something to ask him about, but Henry Pollock in this picture is celebrating his fantastic try, as you mentioned, with Luke Cowan-Dickie, who on his left wrist has got almost a Jordan Pickford water bottle.
Get the football into it again.
Well, I mean, if rugby's looking at football or vice versa, then fantastic. But he's got all these sort of numbers on tape on his wrist, which I don't know whether that's scrum, whether it's line out, whatever it is. But it's fascinating. So it'd be interesting to know from Mark sort of how prevalent that is. Sunday Telegraph sports section, Hail England's King Henry, which is nice. Borthwick praises sensational Pollock after back row scores crucial try in victory over Australia.
We felt so the first 20 minutes there was a lot of the ball being dropped. It was all a bit scrappy. I have to say, some people in hospitality was just chatting among themselves. And then when Pollock came on in the second half, suddenly everybody pays attention to the pitch. There's a fizz around the ground, isn't there? There's excitement. He's come on. In fact, even when he was warming up to come on, he was sort of fist pumping a bit, and you knew this was a moment.
So I was with friends who know far more about rugby than me, and certainly about how to get to Twickenham, and they were saying before the start of the game, this is very clever by Borthwick. He is bringing on. He's using not his better players, but everyone now knows that it's a squad game. Finishers can be starters. And, Henry Pollock, who some people might have wanted to start, he says, well, this mate of mine, John was just sort of talking about actually he'll bring a Pollock on, and when the game gets broken up, I don't know if you'd had seen that in hospitality, but it was very, very clear when he came on and there was a little bit of space to run into, and he exploited
We had
that.
a little bit of excitement earlier on when Harry Potter ran score for Australia, which was a magical moment. I ran all the way towards our box, actually.
Oh, did he? Waving his wand.
He waved his wand. He looked absolutely shattered as he got over the line. But Australia weren't really in it, were they? I mean, they never looked like they were threatening to be, from what I know about rugby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why were we there, actually? Football people.
I enjoyed it.
I was just happy to find my way.
Meanwhile, back to the day job, the bread and butter.
Where do you want to start? With the back page of your... Well, yeah, Mo Salah, obviously, the Mail on Sunday get it in their first edition. The Mail on Sunday are actually very good at getting... Well, you got it in your first edition,
Mail on Sunday hasn't got it in the...
Well, it has.
Oh, it has.
Mo joins 250 Club, Liverpool.
Right, and the back page of the Sunday Mirror. Well. 8 o'clock kickoff is awkward, a bit awkward for... Yeah,
but obviously it was worth... absolutely worth getting in because the whole Liverpool... I mean, you mentioned sort of, crisis over. I mean, crisis is Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's have some perspective.
All right, sorry.
But you look at their performance. Mo Salah, obviously, the focus quite rightly on him, 250 Premier League goals. It is remarkable what he has done. But actually... I think slightly more. Obviously, that was for the later editions. I think the Shaun Dyche story earlier on, Furious Shaun Dyche. Obviously, this was Forest 2, Manchester United 2, and the whole Savona thing. Savona looked like he'd kept the ball in play, so it wasn't going out for a Manchester United corner, which Casemiro then scored from, which obviously added to Forest's anger. But you look at all the sort of the pictures, and VAR would have looked at this. The whole circumference of the ball is absolute. There is a shadow there which is touching the line. You could see Forest fans in that corner furious, Trent Ent, Savona furious. Shaun Dyche has obviously got the replay. Well, and rightly so, particularly exacerbated by the goal. So, look, I like the fact that, the headline on your paper, Dyche fights his corner. Fantastic, because that's exactly what they need. Decent result against a resurgent Manchester United. Great goal equaliser from Ahmad at the end.
That's heavily featured on the back page of the Sun, and inside pages on the Sun is a very good piece by Tony Cotty looking ahead to West Ham versus the mighty Toon this afternoon, in which he is very, very concerned for West Ham, isn't he?
He is, and it's so good. They're actually featured on the back with a headline: Hammers stars pack your bags, as in Lucas Paqueta, and he basically tells Russell Lanning. The players I feel, such as Tony Cotty, the players I feel sorry for most are Jarrod Bowen and Lucas Paqueta. How much sympathy there will be for Paqueta, although reading the FA reasonings this week over the spot fixing which he was cleared of, I think there probably is some sympathy for Paqueta with what he's been through, but I feel most sorry for Jarrod Bowen, who's almost carrying that team. And anyway, he's talking about, my heart bleeds for Bowen, a real legend at West Ham, says Tony Cotty. They have been let down by terrible recruitment, which I think is probably fair to say. So, yeah, Tony Cotty sticking the boot in, and West Ham need a response against your brave boys today.
And thank you for pointing out that's on the back page and 2 pages inside, in which he fears they're going to get relegated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Tony Cotty speaks a lot of sense, and a lot of West Ham fans will be listening and nodding in worried agreement.
And for Newcastle fans, you may have noticed we've got a new show on talkSPORT, which is called Inside the Toon.
You want it?
I am, yes. We started it this week. Very good it was too.
Do you speak from the heart or the head?
Both, really.
Congratulations.
It's off and running.
Good.
You can see that on YouTube. Coming up next on Sunday Edition, we'll look back at yesterday's Premier League action.
Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester United 1, but it's hugely controversial because it's come from a corner that Forest think should not have been awarded.
Burnley 0, Arsenal 2, and it's Declan Rice with the header.
It's all that Arsenal deserve, I have to say. They've been so in command in this game, and they deserve to be 2 goals up.
Fulham 3, Wolves 0. More misery for the visitors. Mosquera with an own goal.
Far too easy. Brighton 3, Leeds 0. Diego Gomez with his second of the afternoon.
It's unbelievable. It's Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 1. Savannah arriving from close range to score. Unbelievable turnaround.
Crystal Palace 2, Brentford 0. The hosts double their advantage, and guess what? It's from a long throw-in. It's an own goal in the end.
Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 2, all square again. What a goal. Ahmad Diallo.
Given away, Mo Salah! This time he'll count. This time Liverpool have the lead. It's his 250th goal for Liverpool.
Caicedo down the middle. He squares it to Pedro. It's 1-0 to Chelsea. And Pedro wheels away in celebration.
And it's 3 points that lifts them up to third in the table. Crisis. What crisis, you may say.
Yep, that's how Saturday's Premier League action sounded on talkSPORT. And weirdly, Henry, I knew you were taking the mickey a little bit earlier on about how I said Arsenal marching on relentlessly and no one's going to stop them. They win 2-0 at Burnley. I don't think they figure on any of the back pages. 7 points clear, and we're almost sort of, oh, well, yeah, of course Arsenal won.
We are. I wouldn't take the mickey out of Arsenal the way they're playing at the moment. 12th goal from a set piece this season, I think, in the Premier League. But you look at that defence. I mean, rightly, everyone's sort of focusing on, you know, their attacking threat, which I think you saw both sides of it yesterday. Obviously, the set piece, Nicolas Javert, but also the second goal was found at Gyökeres's switch, Trossard's cross, Rice timing his run. Rice is in the form of his life. Declan Rice, we got him half price, as the Arsenal fans sing, about £100 million player. But it was interesting dragging it back to Twickenham. When I finally found the station coming back, there was a group of rugby fans, who are obviously Arsenal fans as well, singing the Gyökeres song. And the whole Gyökeres, you know, there was a little bit of criticism as he started out. He didn't have much of a pre-season. He was going to take time to get back up to pace, although he obviously knows English football. But I just think he's exactly what Arsenal need. People talk about, Kai Havertz will come back in and whatever. Gyökeres was exactly what they needed. That muscular front man who would pin centre-halves, who would create space for Odegaard or Eze or whoever's sort of playing in there. I just think he's such an important player. And Arsenal now have this strong spine. I mean...
So who could stop them? There's not an obvious candidate, is there?
Well, we said at the start of the season, who can stop Liverpool? So I think there's an element of perspective. I think that Arsenal are very... I think... Sorry, you want to crown them champions already?
No, but I just can't see... Because the others have been a bit inconsistent and Arsenal are churning it out every week, I can't quite see who'll be the challenger, I've got to be honest.
I wouldn't rule out Liverpool. I wouldn't rule out Manchester City. I think there will absolutely... Look, there'll be bumps and pitfalls on the road ahead, absolutely. But they are rightly favourites at the moment. I think when you look at Arsenal, the first thing you do when the team sheet comes out is you look at the bench, the strength and depth they've got. I mean, even sort of, you know, you're looking at a Max Dowman, obviously slightly longer term because he's so young. But when he comes on, because of the quality of Hale End academies, you know, haven't we even spoken so much about Ethan Ranieri this season? But these players, when they come on, they've got... Or Lewis Skelly as well, because Calafiori's been playing so well. And they've obviously got Saka. And I mean, it's just, you know, they've got strength and depth. Concern yesterday, Gyökeres, muscular injury, went off Zubimendi, who's been really important, shielding the back four as well. But all over, they've got players taking responsibility. But Declan Rice, I mean, look, he was a good player when he went to Arsenal, but he's really kicked on again. I mean, his dead balls, his corners, his free kicks, box to box, adding that goal threat as well. I mean, if you were going to vote for Footballer of the Year, and I know it's early in the season, he would be.
They go at me for.
Well, no, but you would have him in a six. If you've got a 6-man shortlist for Footballer/Player of the Year, he would definitely be in there. So yeah, things are looking good for Arsenal, but early days.
Liverpool, we touched on before, but a lot of the features today are about Salah getting his 250th Liverpool goal, and let's be honest, he's not been in very good form this season. Could this be a bit of a turning point?
Yeah, well, Liverpool will hope so. I mean, it wasn't simply the goal, which was a little bit of a gift for Emi Martinez, but the way he just sort of headed it, passed it effectively straight to Mo Salah, but he still took it well. He still took it confidently to that sort of precision finish. But I think it was his work ethic. I think it was some of the passes. So he does love that sort of little dink into the far post, whether it's a Gakpo or whoever's attacking from there. But Gravenberch, for me, and I was tweeting about this earlier, because I just think he's such an important player. When he plays in front of that back four, he just strengthens the back four. He just sort of bolts everything together in midfield. And it was interesting looking at the team that Arne Slot, who's had some ridiculous criticism this season. I understand.
Has he?
Yeah, he has.
Wasn't he
I think
for a little bit during the week by playing not just an understrength team, but a really understrength team when you probably needed a bit of a boost?
I found the issue was not starting an understrength team, because Liverpool have always done that in the League Cup, or often done it, was not having the cavalry on the bench. I thought that was slightly went against what Liverpool managers have done in the past. But his argument, I assume, was that he needed to rest players and then get the reaction at the weekend, which they certainly did. There was an extra edge and the urgency and the pressing. But what was interesting, it was almost like the Klopp team he had out there. You look at Robertson, the urgency that he brings. Gakpo's obviously been, it's been good. But that central midfield, the triumvirate, we're putting the band back together almost. You look at McAllister, you look at Gravenberch, Szoboszlai's been good all season, and they just had more of that sort of central control against
a team that's been on a good run
and who started well. I mean, Mamardashvili in the Liverpool goal, made a really important. When Cash, who's been in good form, unleashed that shot. I think it takes a deflection off Virgil van Dijk, and then Mamardashvili sort of tips it over. Rodgers again, he's saved from him. So look. Understandably, people talking about the importance of Alisson, but Mamardashvili obviously longer term. So, encouraging from a Liverpool perspective. But what is interesting, it'd be interesting to know your perspective as an editor, sports editor. So much of the noise around clubs, so this is a Liverpool thing, but also generally, a lot of the noise is generated externally, outside a club. I'm sure if you talk, I've only been to Anfield once this season, but there isn't that, maybe one or two sort of concerns, but there isn't that sort of air of dissent inside Anfield, as you might detect from some of the headlines about reactions outside.
Oh, so
how do you balance that?
Making too much?
No, I'm not saying that, but how do you balance
that? It's another. I mean, Arne Slot, say on Friday, was saying no excuses, then listed a whole load of injuries, having to play games close together, a lot of away games, stuff like that, which you think, well.
But one man's excuses is another man's explanations. And so I think he possibly should have toned that down a bit and sort of talked up the sort of players who were playing well. But yeah, it's interesting, just the whole sort of noise, how significant is noise externally to actually what goes on within a club. And I think Liverpool are quite well run.
Just quickly, talking of noise, there's been a lot of noise about Man United this week. They're back, a few wins in a row.
They're not back.
1 year of Amarin, and then they have to dig out an equaliser at Forest.
Yeah, but they still dug it out, and Amad Diallo, and you look at the way that Mbuemo's playing, Cunha, they've got good players there. I still think they need to sort out central midfield.
There's some good players in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, there are good players. I still think they need a central midfielder, even though Casemiro scored again.
Indeed. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT, and next up we'll focus on the FA Cup first round and a tasty tie for Malden and Tiptree. Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter here on Sunday edition till 11 o'clock. There was amazing results yesterday in the FA Cup first round. Gateshead winning at Wimbledon 2-0 and Reading v Carlile was absolutely amazing. Reading 2-0 up into the 90th minute. Carlile score 3 and end up winning 3-2 from the 90th minute to the 90th plus 8.
Do you remember that Reading Arsenal game? Which yeah, but it was 4-4, and I think it was Giroud and one of the other Arsenal players were sort of celebrating 4-4, great Arsenal sort of comeback, threw their shirts into the crowd, and then realised there was extra time, and they had to go and sort of regain their shirts and put them back on. And it was, I think it was.
Was it FA Cup or League Cup? Might be
maybe League.
Don't know, but I think Theo Walcott got a few from my memory. Anyway. Today, hoping to add to FA Cup shocks, it's Maldon and Tiptree, who are away at Port Vale. Now, they are the lowest-ranked team left in the competition, or Maldon and Tiptree. They're second in the Isthmian League North Division. Already had to play 5 games to get here. And if you remember a player called Freddie Sears, who used to be at West Ham, he's in the attack. And also, there's a very famous man in the dugout. He is Kevin Horlock, once of Manchester City, bit of a Manchester City legend. Kevin, good morning.
Morning, guys. How are we?
Morning, Kevin.
Very, very good. You sound very chirpy. Kevin, just before we get onto this tie, I have to say, just looking things up even now on Google, you're still referred to as Man City legend. I know Paul Dickoff gets all the credit for the fact he grabbed the late equaliser in the 1999 playoff against Gillingham. But if you hadn't scored the one to bring them back, Dickoff would never have had his moment, would he?
I do try to remind people that time and again, but no, look, it was great time. Paul Dickoff was a great player for the football club, a great lad as well. So I'm happy that he gets all the highlights and all the adulation because he deserves it. But I'm just thankful to play a very small part in Manchester City's history. It was a special time in my career and one that I'll never forget.
And you're playing quite a part in the history of Maldon and Tiptree, who I've been amused by some of the features that I've seen on TV this week about your owners and about your love of football at this level and how you stay so enthusiastic for it, and you get a tie like this and it's really getting the juices flowing.
Yeah, look, the owners are absolutely brilliant. Yes, they wind people up. Barry's quite vocal on social media. We were sitting and laughing about it last night, but he does it for the right reasons. He's trying to get interest in the game, and he's done that. They're great people, very successful, and put a lot of money and time into Maldon and Tiptree for the community and surrounding areas, so that they've been brilliant, and this is really a repay for all their work, really, and all the people that do a lot of the football club, the volunteers, and the supporters, which is growing week on week.
I had to laugh. Your owner didn't seem to know where Port Vale was when you drew them. He thought it was a little port town, thought it was quite a nice place to go, and discovered it was just next to Stoke.
Yeah, I think that was a bit tongue-in-cheek, if I'm totally honest. But he's some character, and he's been brilliant. I love working for him. I feel very fortunate to have been trusted in managing the football club. They put a lot of money in. They want the football club to go up the football pyramid, and they want to do lots for the community. We've got a women's team already. Football is accessible for all young people in the area. He's made it affordable, so he's brilliant.
Kevin, you got to the first round proper with Needham Market, and you had quite a game at Burton Albion away, didn't you? I think they scored in the first half, but it wasn't really until the 90th minute that they felt safe. What is it about the sort of the cup that works particularly for you?
I think it's just a special, isn't it? I know, like today and back when we played Burton when I was at Needham, we really had no one give us a real chance to even have a chance of winning the game. So I think we can go there with a free hit. I think we did on that day. It was 1-0 up until the final kick of the game. We stayed in the game, and that's what we're trying to do today. We're not going to sit back and just try and soak up pressure. I think that's a dangerous game to play because you can do that and still lose. So we might as well go and enjoy the occasion. It's a celebration, like I said, for everybody involved at the football club. And I've got some good players, and I don't want them to be shackled. I want them to go out and play with freedom, without fear, and show what they can do. And whatever the result, we'll enjoy the day. We've seen a few little upsets in the cup already, not a massive one as such, but hopefully that can be us. Who knows?
You said in an interview with the club website a couple of weeks ago that you can sense when a squad has something different. There's a togetherness, a refusal to give in, and that belief that if we play to our standard, we can win any game. You don't find that often, but you feel it here. What is it? Something about the culture of the place? Is it obviously you've had an influence on? Then is it recruitment?
I think it's a bit of everything. I think it obviously stems from the owners. Obviously, that I've not hid away from it or shied away from the fact that they've given us an unbelievably healthy budget for the level we're at. And we wanted to recruit for the future, the longevity of the football club. We want to climb the football pyramid. So, yes, we've got players that probably shouldn't be playing at step 4, in all honesty. But it's what the owners have created at the football club. And they're good characters, players that I've worked with before in my time at Colchester. And on top of that, they're good players. So they can handle the pressure. So they've created that environment where we can bring them players in, and we try and run it as professional as possible. And that thing about being successful, the clubs I've been involved where we've had success, you can't put your finger on what it is, but you can just feel it in the room, in every training session. Everyone loves to come to Malden and Tiptree and train and work. So. And it's everyone. We're just like one big family, really. That goes for the staff in the kitchens, the bar, everybody, the volunteers. It's a really special place at the moment.
Kevin, can you just take us back to when you got involved, how they sold it to you? Because presumably it wasn't necessarily something on your tick list to go and manage Malden and Tiptree. And yet, as I say, having watched features this week and all that, you've embraced it massively. You talk about the community aspect when perhaps if you were to see it, you might say, oh, well, there's a lot of investment there. They pay a lot. So obviously they're trying to get a fella from the professional game who did pretty well and he not necessarily get invested in the off-the-field aspects, if you like, of the club.
Yeah, it was quite an easy sell for me. I've been manager at Malden and Tiptree before in 2016 when I was sort of co-working at Colchester United. There was a massive link with the football club. And I left. We got to the playoff final and missed out. And then I sort of moved on. I was managing at Needham Market at Step 2 last season. I still got people at the football club that I know, one being Mitch Cowlin, who's director of football, who was involved, obviously, with Barry and Scott coming into the football club. And he asked me the question, would I be interested? And look, it's not about the money. Yes, they pay me quite well, and I'm full-time, which was important, which meant I could just concentrate on the job in hand rather than doing 2 jobs. But it's what they've created and their vision. And to be part of something, I think that's one thing I probably missed when I stopped playing professionally. There's pressure on me to win games because I've got an unbelievable squad and a big budget, but I sort of craved and missed that pressure from my playing days, and I'm relishing it. I'm loving it. It's a great place to be.
You played in an era where the FA Cup was so sort of central to people's lives. How important is it? Can you literally put a financial figure on how much it's worth to you, but also how much the cup does feature and does dominate your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think I'm 50. I was 53 yesterday, actually, but the FA Cup is.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. It will always be important to me. I remember being a kid and watching the build up to the FA Cup final and the hotel and the journey on the coach with the players, the fans, Wembley Way. That will never ever leave me. And we're obviously for non-league clubs, the FA Cup is a massive competition in terms of revenue and prize money. Yes, our owners are very, very wealthy and probably don't need the money personally, but they reinvest it. And non-league clubs need to be self-sustainable. You have loads of good people that work voluntary, and it's about making the club stay afloat on its own. It's not about rich businessmen just putting in their hand in the pocket every week. So that can't happen. Yes, they will do that. Barry and Scott have shown they will do that to get the club to a standard, but then the club needs to be successful to give back. So today's one of them moments where, yes, we've won some prize money. Yes, we've got on the TV. And yes, we can dream. We obviously need Port Vale to have an off day. We probably need to play as well as we ever have. And we probably need a little bit of lady luck, but we've seen it in the FA Cup over the years so often.
You play a lot of games. Your players do. What do you think when you hear sort of some of the managers at the top level just sort of talking about fatigue and fixture congestion?
Well, I understand it. They're obviously playing at a level that's a lot quicker than what we play at. It's a lot more intense, but they have got bigger squads. We've got quite a big squad ourselves, and I sort of understand it. Obviously, you've got to protect your investment. They've got players that are worth a lot of money to the football club, and they are an investment, and they don't want them to be injured. But I'll take having more fixtures this season if it means we're playing another game in the FA Cup.
Kevin Horlock, good luck today. I think if I was Port Vale, I'd be getting scared of Malden and Tiptree. They sound like they're bang up for it, don't they, Henry?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he talks as he played. It's just
his enthusiasm, really infectious,
great.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
I really love it. I thought that was brilliant interview. Not necessarily because of our questions, but because of how he came over. He's not just professional man just grabbing a living at a lowly club. He's actually getting involved in the whole setup.
Do you know, it's just a reminder, and the Cup always brings us back to this, how embedded football is in this country. I know it's an obvious thing to say, but when you hear Kevin and you hear what's going on at clubs like his and the importance of the Cup, it's great to hear.
This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT. Next up, it'll be our feature Best of the Best, which is about great managerial comebacks. Now, time for news of our biggest competition yet, where time is actually running out. Under 1 week to go until lines close for your chance to play to win up to £100,000. That's right, £100,000. Completely tax-free. If you're the lucky winner getting the call this Thursday, you'll be heading to talkSPORT Towers on 13th of November to play for that life-changing cash prize. Here's how to enter, and good luck.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
This is Sunday Edition with Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. We're with you until 11 this Sunday morning, and now it's time for this.
One of the greatest tries ever scored for but she won't get there. Kaylee Hodgkinson is the Olympic champion.
I'm gonna float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Oh, Stephen Harmison, one of the great bulls.
Double 12! Oh my word!
Best of the best on Sunday edition.
I think I'm a special one.
I think he's done it! Yes! You beauty!
Let's be having you!
On talkSPORT.
Yeah, this is Best of the Best, where me and Henry discuss the best of a certain subject. And this morning, in honour of Martin O'Neill's return to Celtic, we're focusing on the best managerial comebacks.
How do you react, though, when someone from your playing staff comes in and says, boss, I think you're doing this wrongly?
Good. Well, I ask him which way he thinks it should be done. We get down to it, and then we talk about it for 20 minutes, and then we decide I was right.
Louis van Gaal, you know, he's a successful everywhere he's been.
Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army! So also the fans are very satisfied with Louis van Gaal.
Tim Krul will come on to replace Jasper Cillessen.
And the first thing Van Gaal said, he was like, right, if you ever disrespect me like that in front of the world again to Jasper, you will never play for me again.
We are in Champions League, man.
That was my next question.
Dilly dong, come on.
And I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together. 3 for me and 2 for them.
And now we go straight away to try to win the title.
The most remarkable domestic achievement in English club football. Claudio Ranieri and Wes Morgan send the King Power Stadium into ecstasy.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of great managerial comebacks in there. And it actually started off with Brian Clough. Because, Henry, this is a man who was sacked after 40-odd days at Leeds United and went on to win league titles and European Cups. So that wasn't a bad comeback, was it?
Well, he was an absolute legend. But it was bizarre what he did at Leeds. I mean, going in there and telling them all to throw their medals in the bin, you know, against strong players like that. It's a strong dressing room. So, yeah, he was, and he had that complicated relationship with Don Revie, didn't he?
He did, very much so. One of the great TV interviews, actually, that one with him and Don Revie. And also featured in there was Louis van Gaal. Now, Man United fans might think, hang on, what comeback that was that? But, of course, what we're referring to is his comeback to almost win the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, both sort of tournaments
both
tournaments that we were at. Well, one that he didn't qualify with the Dutch 2002, the World Cup in Japan and Korea. And he was obviously coaching the Dutch national team, and you know it wasn't possibly the hardest of group, but I mean they came third behind. I think the Irish. They went to Dublin and lost in Dublin when Van Gaal had said some quite cocky things beforehand, and the Irish turned them over. I think it was 1-0, so they didn't qualify for 2002. And then, of course, 2014, I can remember sitting in that extraordinary Dutch press conference where the Dutch, in that very upfront, honest way of theirs, put Tim Krul and Jasper Cillessen up the day after the Costa Rica game, or 2 days after the Costa Rica game, when Van Gaal had taken off his goalkeeper, who'd been there for 119 minutes and kept the Costa Ricans at bay, taken Cillessen off and brought Tim Krul on. Now, Cillessen had never saved a penalty in a shootout before, so there was an element of logic there. Krul had saved 2, I think, out of 20. But the Dutch, Van Gaal said put them up before the press the next day. I think you were there. We were in a cab heading off to the Brazil training ground. England obviously been knocked out by then, by Costa Rica, effectively. I hopped out the cab at the lights and got a cab back to the Dutch training ground with Botafogo or whoever they were training at. And just these two, it was extraordinary. And the Dutch journalists were saying, well, this is the type of thing we do. But can you imagine if an England manager had humiliated a goalkeeper like that? You know, it would have been on your front page, let alone the back page. So, yeah, it was extraordinary. And Van Gaal, it was vindicated. Yeah, they got to the semi-final, didn't they?
Yeah, but they don't win it. So is that a great managerial comeback, do you think? In
terms of not qualifying for 2002 and then going far in 2014, yeah, I think it was. And Van Gaal was great.
Oh, yeah, great value.
Did you ever interview him?
Well, I mean, I've been in press conferences. I never one-to-one interview.
I had a one-to-one interview with him at Manchester United, and I had 40 minutes booked in, and he said, well, let's get started. You've got 38 minutes. And I said, I thought we got 40 minutes. He said, no, it takes me 2 minutes to walk to my next appointment, but you can walk with me and do the last 2 minutes. And he was he was great fun, great character, and it was good to see his comeback.
While we're talking international managers, we've thrown Gareth Southgate in here because obviously as a league manager, he didn't really have any success.
At Middlesbrough, 151 games, lost 63, relegation. And
he became England manager and nearly won the European Championships, nearly won the World Cup. You call him the nearly man, but I would suggest that's some comeback from the position of where you were as a failed Football League manager.
Well, absolutely. In terms of a comeback, absolutely. And in terms of England's perspective, our old friends' penalties, he changed the culture around them. He removed the fear out of them. He realised that, unlike certain previous England managers, like Hoddle, you can't practice penalties. He decided that you can. And he got the analysts, and we had the sort of, Jordan Pickford, had the, the details on his, just the marginal gains. Nothing was left to chance in terms of the goalkeeper would give the incoming England penalty taker the ball, have a few words. There would just be, he just addressed things like that. So look, he has started this process with England of making them potential tournament winners, and obviously we all hope that Tuchel can take that on and be the finisher, to use one of your hospitality lounge words. But yeah, so Gareth, I mean, amazing character, what he did. There's still a frustration of the Italy final at Wembley. Did he change? Did he react quickly enough? But absolutely, in terms of a comeback, you're completely right. He changed things around with England.
In terms of top flight English football, there can't be a better comeback than Claudio Ranieri, can there? Because when he was sacked by Chelsea, it was thought, well, we understand that. Here's this Mourinho fella. He's won the Champions League with Porto. Ranieri, well...
You were in Monaco, weren't you, for that game when he made some slightly strange substitutions?
Very weird.
Very weird substitution. And maybe he knew.
Semi-final?
Yeah.
Champions League semi-final?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, a lot of weird substitutions. Players weren't very happy with him. Looked like he'd lost the plot, was just doing very silly things. And when he left Chelsea, frankly, we thought we'd never see him again back in English football. Pitches up at Leicester, we all go, what? What's going on there? What are they trying to achieve?
I'm not trying to rewrite history here, but how much of Leicester's success in 2015, 2016 was actually driven internally by strong characters in the dressing room in terms of Kasper Schmeichel, leader, Jamie Vardy, leader.
Yeah, come on, you've still got to have something about you to turn that lot into Premier League winners. And I know everybody says, well, Nigel Pearson kept them up and it was a lot of it was down to him. Maybe so. Ultimately, Ranieri went through a whole season and guided them to the title.
With Kasper making important saves, Robert Huth...
Well, that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just... Let's not downplay...
Had it in the bag quite a while out.
Yeah, but don't sort of throw this, Greece 2004 element. They were good players in that
That was very good, by the way, Greece 2004.
It was, yeah. Harris as well, yeah. Yeah, but you just look at that team. I always look at the characters in that team, and Ranieri next season in Europe... How long did it last?
Does it matter to him? He's won the Premier League title. He's been a manager about 25
But
clubs.
is that because you like him as a character? Because
I think it's an amazing... Well, I think it's the most amazing thing that Leicester won the title, and I think it's the most amazing thing that it was done by him. I genuinely probably think he isn't a great manager, but for that season... He galvanised those players. He had the press eaten out of his hand, and they got on a roll, and everybody kept thinking... Well, they'll lose the next one, and they didn't. And his confidence came across, and his genial side, it's a great story.
I would still put that in one of my favourite moments of my career, one of the most emotional moments, having no emotional engagement with the teams or anyone involved. Being in the tunnel before kickoff, I was doing some telly work, before kickoff of the final game, where they had the sort of the celebration and the trophy announcement, and then the extraordinary singing from Andrea Bocelli. I mean, even Ranieri was just moved by that. I mean, it was so powerful. The fans, if you want an example of everything together, from boardroom to dugout, to boot room, to fans, to dressing room, players, manager. I take your point about Ranieri. But maybe Ranieri realised with these players that they are rolling in one direction, and let's just keep
I was going to throw David Moyes in here, but we haven't really got time to talk about him. But I still think it was amazing that after the crushing that he got at Manchester United,
from us as well,
he went on to win the trophy with West Ham. Just quickly, do you think Martin O'Neill's made a good decision to go back to Seattle, which is the reason we're doing this feature?
Totally.
And do you think he'll actually, if he wins today, everybody will say, "Oh, stay around a bit"?
He did that brilliant interview with Jim on talkSPORT as he was heading to the airport to head up to Glasgow, and he said very much an interim. He kept on stressing interim, but you know what? If he's doing well,
anything's possible. Next up, we'll focus on rugby as the autumn internationals returned.
Aguero, Solskjaer, Deeney, Watkins. Sure, you know all about those last-minute goals, but have you heard the one about the on-loan goalkeeper who saved his temporary employers from disappearing out the Football League and into almost certain financial oblivion? Back in 1999, Carlisle United, managed by Nigel Pearson, were fighting to stay in the Football League. Carlisle's finances were precarious with a capital P that season, leading to a scenario where, with 3 games to go, they had to ask the FA to sanction an emergency loan deal to bring in a goalkeeper. Swindon Town's Jimmy Glass arrived at the club. His efforts in his first 2 games earned the Cumbrians 2 draws. Those vital points meant that Carlisle went into their final game of the Division 3 season, now League 2, needing to beat mid-table Plymouth Argyle in front of their own fans and hope their relegation rival Scarborough didn't win against Peterborough at home. The game at the McCain Stadium finished 1-1, and with the same scoreline at Brunton Park deep into injury time, Scarborough's fans invaded the pitch en masse, believing their Football League status was secure, convinced they'd done enough to stay up. However, there'd be one more plot twist. Carlisle won a corner in the dying seconds, and up came Jimmy Glass. In one of those you couldn't make it up moments, Glass scored from a rebounded header and was promptly swamped by teammates and thousands of fans who quite simply couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed. As for Jimmy Glass, he became an overnight celebrity, but he never played for Carlile again, and his playing career never really kicked on after that defining moment. He took on various jobs outside of football before finding his way back into the sport as player liaison officer at Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, and most recently the general manager at non-league Wimborne. Not the fairy tale ending to one of the most Hollywood moments in football, but the name Jimmy Glass will live on forever as the scorer of that goal, arguably the most important in any club's history.
Yeah, we're halfway through Sunday edition, and we're with you till 11 o'clock. Switch of sports for a bit. England 25, Australia 7 was the start of the autumn internationals at Twickenham. Me and Henry were both there. Well, Henry eventually, once he found the right train. There were tries from Earl, Horlock, Mitchell and Cowan Dickey. And after the game, our reporter Alfie Reynolds caught up with England's Tom Roebuck and discussed the competition in the team.
I mean, obviously, like they're two world-class players as well, and Fremo's shown that he can do it all over the pitch, which is great for him. And I think that sometimes that is the case. You just do have to bide your time a little bit. You do have to train as hard as you can, and sometimes selections don't go your way, and that is part of the game. Ultimately, everyone has to deal with that. So it's just how can you bounce back from that? How can you take that, relish it, and sort of use that as your motivation to go? And now I'm getting a bit of a go. I can't complain. I'm just going to try and do my best and keep moving forward with that, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, good win for England in the end after a scrappy bit in the first half. Mark Cueto, former England winger, is here to talk all about it. Mark, good morning.
Okay.
Morning, Mark. Yes, very good. Mark, just before we get onto this, do you still dine out on the try that never was in 2007? Because I have a sort of feeling that if you'd scored it, we wouldn't remember you the same way as we do because you got one disallowed.
I promise you, it's incredible. You've absolutely nailed it there. It's, we're how many year, nearly 20 years on, and the amount of times that try still gets talked about. Obviously around World Cups, it's more, in theme or whatever. But I reckon even at least a couple of times a week, even still now, it's incredible. Yeah, and I think. I've probably done better off not scoring it than if I'd scored it, like you say.
For anybody who doesn't remember it, Mark scored a try and it was ruled that he touched the line with his foot, but Mark is adamant that he put the ball down before your foot touched the line, aren't you?
100%.
Absolutely, here. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. Henry will no doubt relate this to the 1966 World Cup final. Jeff Hurst got the goal. His was given, yours wasn't. Anyway, Mark, yesterday... What did you make of England? As we say, I thought it was a bit scruffy early on, and there was a lot of balls being dropped, and nobody seemed to get into any sort of rhythm, but second half was much improved.
I'd probably go the opposite,
Oh, would you?
Yeah, I thought the first 10 minutes, I thought both teams turned up with loads of intent. I thought the ball was being thrown around. I agree, I think there was a lot of errors. I wasn't down there. Actually, I'm down for the next few games, but I was only watching it on TV at home with the kids, and it started raining 10 minutes before, half an hour before. I think the ball may have been a little bit greasy, to give the lads benefit of the doubt. It was both teams. It wasn't just England that were making errors. But I thought we got off to a really good start. We went ahead, with that try. I think we dominated. Not dominated, but we certainly had the better of Australia in that first 40 minutes. And then obviously, Potter got that for Australia, got that intercept try towards the back end of the first half. And I think it was 10-7 at half time. And, it probably wasn't a fair reflection on the game. And if anything, they said United then. Australia probably went in at half time, far happier. And, I think our boys may have been a bit not disheartened, but almost a bit like, how were we only 3 points ahead on the scoreboard when we've actually gone pretty well there. But it got a bit sticky, it got a bit clunky in the second half. But those boosters, or what they're called now, the finishers, as Eddie Jones used to call them. They came on. Henry Pollock, he's an absolute star, isn't he? Bleached blonde his hair for his first cap at Twickenham, 19 years old, fresh off the Lions tour, comes on and scores a try, sidestepping a winger and finished. Got clipped towards the try line. I think he was already celebrating, but managed to crawl his way over the line. So I think all in all, a really good start. It's always tough first Test match for any team, but particularly for England, they only get, if you think they've only really had a week to prepare, and in that week you've only really got 2 or 3, real good days to put some time in on the training pitch. So I thought a really good start to the autumn.
Well, you're on because you're the expert, and you've put me right about the first half there, Mark. Thank you very much. On Pollock, when a young kid comes into the team, I can imagine seasoned pros going, all right, who's this? Thinks he's Billy Big Potatoes. We'll sort him out. But he's talking the talk, walking the walk, isn't he?
I say to my boys, and I'm down at Caldy now with my middle. I've got 3 sons, all play rugby, and we were all watching the game yesterday. And I said to my eldest, he's 15, and I said, it's exactly. We'll agree here, right? I completely back you up. He's 19. He's fresh on the scene. There's that old school sort of seniority. Young kid comes in, keep your head down, shut up, and listen to the old boys. But he's doing it. He's doing it. He's walking it. He's talking it. He's delivering. He actually looks like he's really respected. He's walking around the team. You see the pictures after the game on the pitch, and he's walking around the team like he's a senior player. He clearly looks like a leader. He's hugging everyone. He's getting involved. He's tapping everyone on the back. He's encouraging. He's brilliant for the game. I think there is that little bit of old school in me that's like, just keep it down and shut up. But at the same time, like, it's exactly what we need in the game. A real character. The kids, I think, for the younger generation, we all sort of look at football and there's all these, your Ronaldos, your Messis, whoever you want to say, those real, big names in the game. Your LeBron James, your people like this in all sports. There's standout players, and they're the players that the kids look up to, and the kids they're inspired to play and be like. And I think he's certainly one of them.
Mark, it was interesting when the Lions squad was announced. Northampton Saints showed some footage. I think it was live, that they were all sort of waiting to see who was going to get called up. And when Pollock's name was announced, all the other Northampton players, old and young, I think there were 4 players called up for the Lions, but all the other players were just straight to Pollock. And you can see the respect. And you see it also with the pictures today of Cowan Dickey being the first to celebrate with him. He's obviously quite a likeable guy, as well as obviously being a rugby talent.
He's in fact, he reminds me a little bit of a James Haskell, but he's probably better. He's probably better than James Haskell. He's one of them guys that he's just full of confidence. Doesn't care that he's only 19. He's not bothered that he's only got single-handed catch. He's been on a British Lions tour, but I think with players like that, they are, without, I don't want to sort of pile the pressure on him and put too much, weight on his shoulders. Even though it looks like he could put the weight of the world on his shoulders and he wouldn't, he'd take it in his stride. But these guys, a bit of a sort of a Tom Curry. These guys, these sort of the quality of the guy and the ability and the talent that he's got. They're pretty rare. Let's be honest. To get on a Lions tour, for anybody to get on a Lions tour is so incredibly difficult. And the kid's been on when he's 19 years old. An Owen Farrell, and Tom Curry, and Johnny Wilkinson, these sort of guys, Sam Warburton, lads that are, they're just going to go down in history. If he stays fit, keeps doing what he's doing, doesn't get a big head or above station, which I'm sure he won't be able to, because the lads don't allow you to in that environment. We're probably reflecting 15 years, he's probably been on 3 or 4 Lions tours. He's one of those sort of special players, and I think the environment's just helping him as well. We listen to a lot of the guys talking after the game. Tom Roebuck again, him and Tom were, it was a bit of a sort of a not a set play, but something that they'd worked on in the week. Robes is obviously so good in the air, getting the ball up, putting the pressure on, aerially on the Aussie back three, and getting up there and getting as many numbers around that sort of 10-metre radius of the landing spot, and they did it.
They did. Mark Cueto, thank you very much, and thanks, Mark, for bringing the atmosphere of rugby training this morning to you.
They're all in the background there.
If you're watching it on Smart TV, Mark was helpfully walking right around the ground, showing us the pitch and everything. Thank you very much, Mark Cueto.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers. Good luck to you, lad.
Yeah. You're going to love Henry Pollock, aren't you?
You're going to love him even more as a tabloid sports editor. You'll absolutely love that. Your rugby coverage will be Henry Pollock's England from now on.
Absolutely. Indeed. Quite right too. Next up, we'll focus on ticket prices and fixture scheduling. and WhatsApps are rolling in here on Sunday Edition, and this is the sort of one I like. Mark from Middlesbrough. Sorry, but Henry is talking waffle about Ranieri. No need to apologise, Mark. Absolutely fine. He was the manager of the whole title-winning season. It's his title and his alone. A lot happens in a season. He's the winner, says Mark.
Just mentioning the fact that there were players involved.
Well, yeah, but as I say, he does give Ranieri some of the credit, which is more
absolutely deserves it.
I'm not sure who sent this one in, but it says that Reading v Arsenal game you referred to was in the League Cup. As a reward for Arsenal, they drew League Two Bradford City away, and Bradford turned them over. And it says up the chickens. I hadn't realised Bradford were the chickens. I thought they were the Bantams, but I've just looked it up, and apparently they also call themselves the chickens. A bantam is a chicken, says the producer. Is that right? Very good. There you are.
Well, we're obviously bantamweights, which is a heavyweight.
Who knew? Now I learn something every day.
I detect foul play. Get on with it.
Matt says, "Oh, behave. Gyökeres scores against weak opposition, and he's now the dogs you-know-what's all of a sudden." It was Burnley.
Well, Burnley, who have been pretty decent. So I think that's a little bit harsh on Burnley, away from home. A lot of perspective, a lot of debate, quite rightly, over the last 3-4 years about Arsenal needing a number 9. They've now got a number 9, so let's acknowledge it.
Well, the most important thing we've learned this morning is that a bantam is a chicken.
Yeah, and I now have directions to Twickenham.
Indeed. 2 things. Anyway, on to ticket prices. This one's really exercised Henry today. Ahead of the Wolves.
And I hope it exercises you.
Well, it does. But let's just listen first. Ahead of the Wolves game yesterday, Fulham midfielder Sander Berg pleaded with the fans to buy tickets for the game.
Fulham fans, hope to see you Saturday at the Cottage. We need your support as always. Buy your tickets if you haven't got one already.
Now, Henry paid £165 for his ticket to Twickenham yesterday, and he's not happy that Sander Berg is trying to get Fulham fans to pay, what was it, £105?
Yeah, look, it's nothing to do with Sander Berger. I mean, he is effectively... I just think it's a dangerous precedent. Look, I know it's been done before, so it can hardly be a precedent. But just in terms of the dynamic, the relationship between players and supporters, when we know that the Fulham supporters, as are supporters across the country at many clubs, unhappy with ticket prices. And to ask a player to do that, I think it's a little bit unfair on Sander Berger. I mean, just...
You could have said no, I suppose.
Yeah, but is he going to? And I mean, it just seems Fulham should be above this. And if you're going to do it, the people who actually decide the ticket prices, maybe they should come out and talk about why they need a full Craven Cottage. And it was interesting, the crowd yesterday for Wolves, 26,413, down from their previous one, which, was against Arsenal, more attractive fixture, 27,736. And I bumped into a couple of Fulham season ticket holders at Twickenham. I said, well, why aren't you at the match? And they said, just didn't really fancy going. So there is a sort of slight disconnect between, with what's going on at the club. And look, they had a fantastic result, and the support was there from those who turned up. I just think it's a dangerous game when you're dragging players into this and potentially affecting their relationship with the club over a sensitive issue, which really should be between the board and the support. And the board should be explaining more why they're doing that. Just a final point on this is the broadcasters, when they are showing matches, they want the atmosphere. A lot of the atmosphere is generated by 18 to 21-year-olds. It was 80 quid for those tickets that were spare for it's in the Riverside,
it's in the big new stand.
It's in the new one, but it was still 52 quid for a restricted view, 18 to 21-year-olds in the Putney end. So I do find it extraordinary when they are generating so much from, I think Fulham last season got 140 million from broadcast, and each position up the table is 2.7 million. So if you generate that, and they generate, I think 18 million from gate receipts, I don't quite understand the economics if you've got a full house and you've got a happy house. Maybe they just simply want the tourists who then go and spend more in the club shop. I understand. I'm not happy with that argument. Anyway, look, it's just a general thing. I think a little bit more respect to fans, a little bit more communication.
But I mean, if a family of 4 going to Fulham yesterday in that stand, that's 300 quid plus. That's a heck of a lot, isn't it, for a day out of a football game?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's not simply a Fulham issue. It's issues we've had. West Ham have had issues on it, Save our concessions we've had there. Tottenham Hotspur have had issues with it. Manchester United fans have had issues with it. And I know you think I'm always banging on about the regulator, but not the regulator can necessarily actually intervene in the setting of ticket pricing, because that's clearly a club-related issue. But they can actually encourage boards to be more transparent and communicate better and explain and put a little bit of pressure on boards, clubs to treat fans with a little bit more respect, because we all worry about the atmosphere at grounds.
But the Sanderberg video has actually had its effect in some ways, I suppose, because we're talking about it and we're seeing it, we're hearing it a lot. So maybe his plea to get more people there might work.
Yeah, I just felt a little bit sorry for him that he was being, was having to do that, when really it should be a board member. It should be someone who is setting those ticket prices rather than a player. And I think it's a risky game if you are doing anything to sort of damage the sort of the fabric of the relationship between player and
it's also interesting that he didn't say what the ticket prices were. So you look at that and you think, oh, blimey.
Which was the immediate reaction online.
So, anyway, just quickly, fixture scheduling's cropped up again this week. I know it's a bit of an old chestnut, but Oliver Glasner's got a real point about the one with Crystal Palace, and I know obviously it affects Arsenal as well, because they've got a Carabao Cup quarter-final in a week when they're playing in the Conference League. And I suppose when they schedule these fixtures, they are not taking into account the fact that Palace would get into the last eight of the Carabao Cup, because it's going to be in the same week as they've got a Conference League game.
Do you know what? He's actually focusing on 4 games. You could actually stretch it out to 6 games very quickly. In the Premier League, 7th of December, Fulham versus Palace. Europa Conference League, 4 days later, 11th of December, Shelbourne. Premier League, 14th December, Palace against City. Then the League Cup, as you mentioned, Arsenal 16th of December. And then 2 days later, this is a Tuesday to the Thursday, Conference League, Palace versus, I can hardly pronounce them, Kuopio. And then 3 days later, the 21st of December, away to Leeds in the Premier League. So it's not simply those 4 games, it's actually the 2 Premier League games also bookending that 4-game period. So, look, this is what squads are for. They've got a decent squad, as they showed earlier in the season, certainly against Liverpool, when he sort of rotated it a little bit, so changed to 3 or 4 players, not as much as Liverpool. But yeah, I got absolute sympathy.
When you get to the Carabao Cup quarterfinals, though, that's when you start putting all your proper players in, isn't it? Which you want to do. And look, they may have qualified for the Conference League by that 18th. They might not. They might need the players in there. It's totally unreasonable to expect this. And apparently one of the alternatives was to play on Christmas Eve.
Is that right?
Well, the Arsenal, one of the Carabao Cup games. I'm not sure it's ever going to that'll have to happen, but I don't know when they fit it in.
Well, apparently, Boxing Day's free.
Yes, I have heard that. But look, it's a consequence of so many teams getting into Europe.
It is, and also, as you say, it's a reflection on Palace's success under an outstanding manager and some very good players. But it's that turns a season into an assault course.
It does indeed. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT with Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. Long throws are the topic of conversation next.
throw to come in. So this one from about 25 yards out, hurled in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, taken a touch, and he's volleyed in. Perfect start for Brentford. Dongo Watara, 6 yards out on the end of the near post flick. Brentford score from a long throw yet again. Liverpool trailing the league yet again. Already behind as they look to avoid a 4th straight league defeat. And they've been undone from a set piece by Dongo Watara.
Yeah, Brentford scoring against Liverpool courtesy of a long throw, and long throws have made a huge return this season. Tony Pulis, one of the early exponents of it, has written a column on it, and Andy Legg was known for his long throw and at one point was the Guinness World Record holder for the longest throw, and he joins us now. Morning, Andy.
Good morning.
Morning, Andy.
Andy,
Good morning.
Me and Henry actually remember playing a press game against you where we couldn't believe how far the ball went. We were all lining up at the far post in order to try and knock it out. It was phenomenal. Tell us, just first of all, how you learned it, or what happened, how you discovered, gosh, this is a brilliant thing to have in my armoury and I can really do it.
I don't know, really. I was, because I played in goals up till I was about 14, 15. And then I started playing out, and I just picked the ball up and just threw it in, and it just went further than everybody else's throw. Never really practiced it. Played a lot of tennis, so probably thought it was from when I used to practice to serve. So I could extend my back, I think, if looking at some photos from previous years.
Now, weirdly in football, it's always been seen, or previously been seen, as a sort of bit of cheating. It's not the way to play. Henry loves 1,000 passes, and all of that sort of stuff, which get you nowhere. This is a very direct way of playing football, and used to be, let's face it, pretty common. And it went out the game, and now it's back. And personally, I love it. What have you thought about the return of the ancient art, as I called it earlier on?
I don't think it really went away. I think some people still did it in the lower leagues. Obviously, it came out to the Premier League because it's all about possession of the ball now and maintaining the ball. But if you've got it in your armoury and it's a weapon, and you can throw it flat or you can throw it high, and you can direct it in different ways as well. And we've got people with different movement in the box. You've got to have a chance of getting a goal. Not many goals are scored actually direct from the throw. It's probably from the second ball.
Andy, I mean, I can remember 1992 Wembley record breakers, where when you set the record, I think 44 metres, you held the record, which went into the Guinness Book of Records, for about 5 years, and then Dave Challoner came along and beat your record. I mean, you achieved a lot in your career, but how much did that sort of record and then losing that record mean to you?
It was quite strange because I don't know if you can remember the old Shoot magazine.
Yeah.
Well, they came down when I was playing at Swansea, and I actually threw 46.7 metres. It was half the length of the pitch, but because there was no record breakers there, it wouldn't count. So, and at Wembley, it was. I don't know if you can remember. I think it was before the Brazil game, and it was pouring down with rain, and I had to step over some TV wires and everything. So it was a little bit difficult that day to set a record, but it was it's amazing to be in the Guinness Book of Records for that period of time.
It's amazing when I look, just looking through your career, you played 700 and odd league games. Does it seem slightly weird that the thing most people remember you for is something that didn't involve your feet?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I suppose most people say this exactly the same thing to me, and I say it's better to be remembered for something than nothing. So it's better now in stinkers every week and week in, week out. So, but everybody knows if my name's mentioned, it's always about the long throw, and in a way, it's not an insult. I think it's quite a nice thing to have.
Can you take us through the art of it, Andy? I mean, is it just hurling it as far as you can into the box? You talked a bit about a flat throw, a high throw, and all that. What was your thinking when you were going into it? You talked about it during the week about where you would aim for and all the different sort of set piece moves you could do?
Yeah, we used to change it up, and sometimes you can throw it really flat and hard, so you can get a little flick on at the near post and get somebody tall there, or you can launch it to the far post and get people around the back. you could just direct it any way you wanted to. And if you had nobody standing in front of you, where sometimes teams used to put like a 6-foot player standing in front of me, well, you couldn't really throw it as flat as you wanted to then. So you had to sort of get more height on it. But yeah, it was. But like I say, I don't think we scored many direct goals from it. It was always from the second ball or the knockdown, like the Brentford goal against. I think it was late on when they won the game. So it's always second ball, and that's the most important thing.
Henry talked about Dave Chandler breaking your record, and of course Rory Delap is famous for them as well. Do you look on and study long throw experts and say, nah, they're not as good as me, or oh, nice to see a new one coming along, a new kid on the block or something who's got a great long throw?
Yeah, it's great to see people panic when his long throw's going into the back, into the box, and I do think that linesmen now are a little bit less picky with their long throws, because I look at some of them and I think, well, that's got to be a foul throw because his back foot is off the floor. But listen, I quite like it. I quite enjoy a long throw going into the box and defenders panicking.
I mean, it is nothing new, as you say. I mean, the 1970 FA Cup final, Chelsea won it with Ian Hutchinson, very long throw. Dave Webb eventually got on the end of it. But for you, and he actually had a very tiny run up in the replay because of the hoardings. Did it depend for you on how much of a run up you got? Because I mean, like at West Ham this afternoon, you've got about sort of 30-yard run up that you could sort of come in like Tessa Sanderson on it. But sometimes you were so cramped in on the grounds that you played in, it must have restricted the run up.
Yeah, absolutely. Playing at West Ham, and QPR was another one. You had probably one or two steps, and that was it. I had to try and bend to try and get some trajectory off it. But yeah, it does depend on how long you got a run up. If the longer the run up, the better for you. Really, it gives you more room. You can get a little bit of speed up as well, and I found it much easier if I had a decent run up. I would love to play in the stadiums this day and age, because at the old baseball ground and, as we say, Upton Park and QPR's ground, you just had no space whatsoever.
I mean, you had a very long career in football, but do you think the fact you had a long throw sometimes helped you get in the team?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. If I'd had a stinker one week and didn't play very well, I'd probably end the team because I had a long throw and I could cause problems. So, yeah, listen, I'm not one of those that was the most skillful player in the world. I used to try my hardest and run about and try and win a game and get some tackles in or whatever. But obviously a long throw helped as well.
Where do you stand on the towel debate? There's a lot of discussion about whether you should be allowed to have a towel on the side of the touchline, people hiding the towel if anybody's tried to bring a towel out. Did you have a towel, Andy?
It was funny, quite later on in my career we had towels out. But I can remember going to Brighton one day and I can't remember the Brighton manager, and it was at the Withcott Stadium, is it? Withdean Stadium, yeah. And what they'd done, they had all the spare balls, they'd put in a little hole full of water. So every time I got a new ball, it was soaking wet. And we brought a towel out half-time and they robbed it off us. So, yeah, it's tricks of it, if it benefits you, brilliant. But it's got to be the same for both teams. If you've got a towel there, both teams got to be able to use it.
Just on how do you defend against it? Because I hear all this sort of talk about, well, you have to take a player off the defending player off the edge of the area, sacrifice that, which is obviously a risk, but actually then have a sort of a spare man just to attack the ball. How would you do it defending against it?
It's very difficult, really. It all depends. Like I say, if it's a low trajectory at the near post or towards a big man, I had Kevin Francis at Birmingham, who was 6'7". So I used to just aim it flat at Kev for him to flick it on and then get the second ball or the second header in. So they'd have to put a really tall person in front of him and one behind him to try and stop that. It is very difficult, especially if you've got the likes of Van Dijk and Canate and people like that, big, tall men and strong.
Andy Legg, brilliant to hear from you. Fine exponent of the long throw. Great stuff. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
And we still have nightmares about his long throw, don't we, Henry, from that
We
press
did.
game? It was absolutely astonishing to see.
And you have nightmares about... You marked Joe Calzaghe in that game. Was that the game?
when he went down in the penalty area.
Yeah.
He said, "Ref, he pushed me." And I'm looking, that was the same game.
That's certainly not a bantamweight, that. You
Calzaghe, get up. I can't
put
push
Joe
you over.
Calzaghe down. He had a bandana on, didn't he? Was that Barry?
Was Andy Legg aiming for Joe Calzaghe in the box with his long throw?
Possibly.
I presume he was.
Possibly. Yes. I was keeping well away from Joe Calzaghe.
You're listening to Sunday Edition, where we'll finish up by looking ahead to today's Premier League action. West Ham v Newcastle and Bournemouth against City. It's our biggest competition yet, and time is running out. Under 1 week to go until lines close for your chance to play to win up to £100,000. Yeah, that's right, £100,000, completely tax-free. If you're the lucky winner getting the call this Thursday, you'll be heading to talkSPORT Towers on Thursday, November 13th to play for that life-changing cash prize. Here's how to enter, and good luck.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a TalkSPORT limited promotion run on TalkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Couple of big games in the Premier League today. First up is West Ham versus Newcastle at 2 o'clock, and ahead of this one, manager Nuno Espirito Santo believes it's paramount that they get the fans back on side.
Yeah, it's a reality. It's what it is. It's what it is. We cannot hide ourselves, and again I said it's our responsibility. I hope it starts in the warm-up. a good warm up that can connect the people, can connect our fans, and again the game started, and the fans see the team go, so the environment, the backup, the noise, but it's up to us. It's up to us. That's why we are so committed to start and changing what is being our home front, because we need them. We need to be strong at home, but more than anything, we need to compete. We compete.
Yeah, it's hard enough playing the mighty tune, but they're also playing their own fans a bit as well, aren't they, West Ham?
They are. I mean, lingering issues over the stadium. Obviously, the quality or lack of quality of the football, the tensions with the board, issues over recruitment. And, you know, this is a general theme in football at the moment, that you've got some fairly sophisticated fan bases in terms of how they use social media, how they call on the expertise of individual fans, whether they're involved in PR, whether they're involved in marketing, whatever, campaigning, lobbying, and they are pretty cute on this, and rightly so, because some of the treatment of fans in terms of the general issues over moving kickoffs, but specific club-related issues over ticket prices alienate fans, particularly in the economic climate we have at the moment.
Yeah, no, but West Ham are playing badly. And
yeah, absolutely. It's a combination of factors.
And we can't just keep saying, oh, well, it's the ground's fault, for goodness sake.
But the ground isn't
Yeah,
great.
no, but it's not going to change, is it? So let's put that aside. What's the issue particularly with West Ham as a team, do you think?
I think if you look at the team, there aren't enough players playing for the shirt. I think if you look at Jared Bowen, I mean, look at
Jared Bowen, he is playing for the shirt.
He is absolutely playing for the shirt, and you need more individuals like him. Tony Cottee making the point in your paper this morning, you know, that Jared Bowen's almost sort of carrying the team. But you look at the front four that it's likely to be against your brave Newcastle boys this afternoon. You've got Bowen on the left, Bowen on the right, Somerville on the left, Paquetá as a sort of 10, and then Wilson, assuming it's Wilson up front. You know, these are decent players, particularly Bowen. Somerville on his day, absolutely. Paquetá, he's got to sort of define his future a little bit more, because there's so many stories that's around him. Is he going to leave in January? Whatever. So yeah, but you just need to see. You know, it's just the basics. A little bit more effort. So like Potts comes on, and Potts obviously with the family tradition, the connection, the way he grew up, connected to the club. Absolutely gives everything.
Yeah, but he's not first team regular, is he?
No, he's not. But
he's been there a long time, and he's not really. If West Ham are going to improve, he's not really the future of West Ham.
He's not. But I'm just saying that you listen to West Ham fans, and they like his attitude, which I think you absolutely need more of. You know that. I mean, work ethic, commitment to the shirt, the fact that you got the fans there, the fact that you are well paid. That should be an absolute gimme. And that's why Bowen has always impressed. Wherever he's played, he's absolutely given everything.
I find it hard to understand that a player would actually go out on the pitch and think, you know what, I'm not going to try very hard today.
I don't think they do that, but just that little bit extra, that extra concentration, just that 1% makes the difference.
I think where it's particularly difficult at this stadium with West Ham, actually, when they're playing well, when it's successful as they did in their winning the Conference League, when it's full, it can be okay. It's quite a good atmosphere. Everybody's on the side. But if they don't start well against Newcastle, you get 10 minutes in, it's really, really toxic.
Don't you think there'll be Eddie Howe's team talk to Newcastle?
Yeah.
We would absolutely say, get in some early tackles, show your own commitment, get on the front foot, have a real go, sense that vulnerability, and just see the change amongst the West Ham fans. And it could get toxic. Flip side of that is obviously if they all come out and actually West Ham are on the front foot and they echo what Nuno was saying there in terms of the relationship with the fans, which is absolutely key, then they will support them.
Newcastle not so good on the road, been very good at home, so 3 home games in a row. So that, for me, if you were Nuno, you'd be saying, look, they're not so comfortable away from home at the moment. They just aren't.
And you would hope that Nuno gets his fullbacks on the right side, because Anthony Gordon skewering a fullback. I love watching
Barnes, Elanga.
Yeah. Well,
ripped to bits.
Yeah, Murphy. I mean, I really like the look of... Tonali's an obvious player, but he is just so... I'm not underrated, but everyone talks about who are the best sort of holding midfielders, if you can call him a holding midfielder. He does that. He does it brilliantly. He's an interceptor. He's getting forward. He scores the occasional goal. Who's been your player of the season. Voltemada obviously has been...
Yeah, pretty good. Look, everybody's coming together. I said last week that Anthony Gordon is actually producing more over 90 minutes than he was before. I felt that he flitted in and out at times of games, but he started to...
He had that good game in Europe.
And then he was really good against Benfica.
And don't you think is England starting left winger?
Don't know. Too early to decide.
Oh, come on.
No.
He looks it.
Genuinely.
Performances, don't you think?
But you told me I couldn't make rash judgments earlier on about Arsenal, so...
Yeah, I also said you couldn't make Rashford judgments as well as rash judgments, but I would still say that Rashford's number 2 to Gordon on the left for England for Tuchel.
And, of course, don't forget to listen to Inside the Two now, on YouTube show on YouTube.
Had some nice...
I've had nice comments, we've had nice comments, the team, which is unusual, obviously.
You're such a team player.
Usually get battered. Anyway, other Premier League games are available, and one of those is Manchester City v Bournemouth today. That's at 4:30. Bournemouth could close the gap on Arsenal to 4 points later today with a win, and Andoni Iraola is keen to keep the level of performances high.
For me, never. I don't know if City would have won, we would be third, and if Liverpool would have won, we will be fourth. I don't care. I value the 18 points, and we know that, as I said before, we have 2 very, very difficult games now before the break, and you lose these 2 games, and then you find yourself in mid-table. But you still have the 18 points. You have to add points, but competing like we are competing. I think we are being competitive in every game. Some games we are playing better, other games we are not playing as brilliant, but if we keep this level of performance, normally we will be fine.
Second place Bournemouth, going to City. Tough one for City.
Yeah, absolutely. I love his voice.
That's great.
I mean, he could read out the Bournemouth telephone directory. And it's just that sing-song voice, and you can see why players love him. Obviously, for the tactical side, the brilliant recruitment they've got at Bournemouth, the fact that they sell stars to sort of big clubs, and they just continue to roll on. I think he's absolutely magical.
So this is an intriguing one, Henry, this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it won't be easy for City, but you look at Erling Haaland. You look at I don't know, I mean, I know you're busy on YouTube with your own superstar channel, but I mean, Erling Haaland's YouTube video on raw milk and tomahawk steaks and just everything about him, you can see why he's absolutely an elite performer. So difficult for Bournemouth. And
as is traditional in this show now, we have to say well done Sunderland, who are playing Everton tomorrow night, which is a talkSPORT exclusive, 8 o'clock. And if they win that, I think I'll just throw my hands up and say, OK, right, we've got to accept they're on a consistent run, and they're having an amazing season.
They are, but they're fantastic. But you should be proud for the North East.
Yeah, quite. The Pickford Derby, that one, tomorrow night, talkSPORT exclusive. And remember, you can keep across all of today's action with Game Day Live from 1:30. Up next, it's the warm-up with Max Rushton and Barry Glendenning.